chance to go downstairs. You're not working. You come in when you feel.
Testing.
I got next one. Okay, 5.
Can you hear me?
Can.
Can?
Yes.
To David Buckham, Constable of the Town of Skowhegan, Maine, in the County of Somerset. Greetings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby requested to notify and warn the voters of the Town of Skowhegan in said county and state qualified by law to vote in town affairs, to meet in the Opera House in the Skowhegan Municipal Building in said town on Wednesday, the 13th day of August, 2025 at 6 o'clock in the evening to transact all the business as herein enumerated in the articles of the town warrant. Article number 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. I am accepting nominations. We have Harvey and Lexia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who's second? Al? Thank you. Any other nominations?
I move nomination 6.
Thank you, Jean. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mel. All in favor? So I have Ken Lexia. I am now going to go around for the voters who have the ballots to be marked, and I'm going to collect them. Okay, 4-0, and Lexia. Ken, can you please come forward so I can swear you in? I state your name.
I, Ken Lexia,
Do swear
swear
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United
and of
States
this state,
and of this state,
so long as I shall continue
so long as I shall continue
a citizen thereof,
a citizen thereof,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Ken Lexia,
Do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully
to
discharge
the best of my abilities
to the best of my abilities
the duties
the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as moderator
as moderator
of this meeting
of this meeting
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws of the state,
and the laws of the state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody hear me? Could be louder. How's that? Okay. We have some people who will need to speak who are not residents. You'll be addressing, and perhaps the chief, anybody else? So would somebody please make a motion to allow non-residents to speak at the town meeting?
So moved.
So moved
Second.
and seconded.
Who made the motion?
Steve Conlon.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you for that. We have one article. This article is what's called a capped article. So the amount that's approved cannot, under any circumstances, exceed the amount that's being requested. Please direct your questions, comments to me. What I would ask someone to do is make a motion to approve the article as written. Somebody seconds that. Now the article is on the floor. It can be discussed. It can be amended, but we need to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to read Article 1. Of course, I forgot my glasses. To see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate $118,765.05 from the fire station building repair reserve and $403,547.35 from the public safety building reserve within the capital reserve account, totaling $522,312.40 to the Recreation Athletic Complex Reserve account. Would someone make a motion? Yes. Thank you. Is there a second? Moved and seconded to approve as written. Okay, so now the article is on the floor. It can be discussed, ask questions, make comments. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This at first is going to be 403,000 at first, correct? The whole thing was 403, and now we bumped it up to 522.
Yeah, so I wasn't here for that, but yeah, that number sounds right.
So we just would like to know where the difference. I know it's a bump up to fix everything, but when we were mad that we didn't have enough money and we didn't want to go in front of the voters and have to do excess taxes, we were thinking we were stealing from this to rob the people. It's a big steal now, and we just want to know, or I want to know, what the difference is and what has caused it to be that. Before we just.
Okay, so this might be a long-winded answer to your question.
That's okay.
But, so the reserves that these are coming out of, is the fire station building and repair reserve, which is for the old fire station, which is no longer being used for the fire department in the same capacity. This $118,765 hasn't changed. That's the same amount the board tentatively, or attempted to approve to transfer to the athletic complex reserve. That wipes out that fund because that's no longer, that's a stagnant fund, we're not using that anymore. The other fund is also the same fund that they were transferring funds from. However, I worked backwards and said, how much money are we gonna need in that public safety building reserve account? And it's a new building. We have a very limited scope on what we can spend those funds on right now. And it's for the construction of that building and the associated cost for it. So we, I got $70,000 in that account, and that's where this number comes from to give us the most liquid, the most money we can move over, so we can have some cash running in for this project. So it's instead of being itemized up, it's the other way around, because as you guys can tell, we're not sure exactly when those CDS funds are going to kick in. So I don't want to, itemize a couple of things, and then 2 weeks later we have to have a special town meeting to be able to pay for this project, right? At the end of the day, the town is going to have to pay this fall field to get constructed. And the town can go right now to municipal bond bank or a regular bank for a loan because we don't have an audit. We're 3 years behind an audit. And that's a requirement to take any sort of note for a municipality. So that's out the door, right? So now, okay, we have to figure out how to fund this. If we don't, we don't approve this, we'll probably have to come back and ask to raise taxes to pay it. So we're going to be obligated to pay up to a certain amount for this project until those CDS funds are approved, officially released to us. So this amount, this 522,000, is taking 2 stagnant funds right now, putting them into the athletic reserve to help us float the next 2 to 3 months. And hopefully by then, hopefully sooner, we have the CDS funding. But until then, we want to make sure that we have enough money on hand that we can pay our bills that are due for this project that's already been, well, in the works before I got here. This is my second one. The last piece I was going to mention was, oh, yeah, so again, I'm still in the background of this project as much as anyone else is, but I guess it started back in 2006. And since then, obviously, inflation has played a role, and change orders also played a role. So the additional cost that we're having in front here before the CDS funds kick in for this phase 2 part 2, it moves into this fund, this amount as well. So I'm hopeful we won't have to spend this. I think our intention is not to spend this whole appropriation that moves over. We want to be able to keep those funds stagnant and put those somewhere else that we could use. But right now, for short-term funding, it's our best option. I've combed through our reserve accounts, our funds. In order for us to pay for these obligations, we have to get this money. So that was my long-term answer.
Let me see if there's anybody else. Anybody else have a question? Yes, ma'am.
If the funds get moved and we pay, I'm assuming we need to pay bills that we already owe on the complex. So then will there be enough in that money that we're moving to finish the original ball field so that come spring, those boys are going out on that field and then playing?
Yes, short answer, yes. So this money will allow us to have enough cash on hand to fund the project for this fall. And we've worked with Steve Works to really get their focus in on getting the ball field done this fall. And so that's, yes, that's
Yep. Anybody else? Yes, you have another. Go ahead.
In April, the total amount was 403,000. Nobody liked that then, but now we're at 522. So if it passes tonight, we, at that first meeting that we said we liked 403,000 or whatever the amount was, that we got to pay our bills. But we were told that, yes, this will pay our bills, get us going so that we could get this grant. And it was questioned at that point, if we got that grant, would this money go in other things? Because what happens is we're robbing Peter to pay Paul for the ball fields. But what happens if something happens at the sewer station? We don't have any more people to rob. We're going to come to the taxpayers. So is some money going to go back somewhere as a buffer? Because we are going to get hit as taxpayers if we don't put money back, right?
So I have a couple answers to that. One, with, who's control has a reserve account for some of those issues, right? This money is tied up right now in these 2 reserve accounts. Can't be used for the sewer has an issue. We have to free those up by a town bill and put them there. It's going to go to the athletic reserve. Again, the intention is not to spend all this money. We want to make sure we don't ask for 400,000 and then in a month or 2, we need to ask another special town meeting to move over the last of those stagnant funds to cover this, right? So we're trying to move this money now to set us up in case, worst case scenario, we have to pay for it out of all this. We don't want to use all this money. And so we're hoping the CDS fund will come in sooner than that, and we can then reallocate this funding back to other projects around town. for reserve accounts. I'd personally like to see a tax stabilization account, but that's a long-term project.
In the back, yes, sir.
Yes.
Is it possible to move that money into an account where it is available for a sewer emergency or anything? In addition to being available for any bills that come up on the ball fields, or is that just not how municipal accounts are set up?
Yeah, so yes and no. The first part of that is yes, we could move it to the general fund, right? But then we have to expense it out of the line, and we would be, municipal government operates under fund accounting, which is different than traditional accounting. And we would have to overexpend a line item, and where we put that in our budget, it wouldn't make sense. By main statute, we're actually not allowed to overexpend anything but highway, and that's for natural disasters. So it made the most sense and the cleanest and the most appropriate to reappropriate this money now for here. But again, our intention is to, once we figure out where the additional funding is timeline-wise, when that's coming in the next month, 2 or 3, whatever leftover funds we don't want to touch, and we want to free those up in a separate way. We could then go back to the taxpayers' next town meeting and vote to put that back in the public safety building reserve account, because we're also going to be putting on the article during that town meeting to convert that account to a maintenance account, and that way we're covering. Right now, it's technically not allowed to be spent for repairs. It's for the construction of the building. So I hope that answers it. What was your name for the
David Gilroy.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Yes, ma'am.
So this money that we're waiting on to finish this ball field complex, is that a grant or is it just allocated funds that go into the account?
It's a grant. It's a federal grant.
Okay, so if we move close to $500,000 from these accounts to pay for this, how is that going to be repaid back in if it's a grant? Or is there a stipulation that you can just set it and move it to certain places?
Are you asking that that 522,000 what we spent on this project? How are we?
I'm saying if we reallocate money that could be allocated elsewhere, is there a form of repayment from the monies that you will be getting that you would have used to finish this?
No. So the CDS funds are scheduled for phase 2, part 2. And right now we're paying on phase 2, part 1. And we're going to try to get strategic. If the CDS funds come in sooner, we're going to roll as much of that in, and call it phase 2, so we can pay for it with the federal grant. However, we can't back pay ourselves. So we're working hard to get the money, the environmental assessment done, so that we can free checkbox the federal requirements, and that way we can free up that money. However fast they work, however fast we get that money, will then allow us to stop drawing down from this. But we can't pay it back. Answer the question.
Second question would be, if we allocate these funds to complete what we need to pay for, will that then absolutely guarantee that phase 2 goes off and starts without a hitch, or?
I don't want to speak for you. Ideally, yes, but as you've seen, we faced a lot of change orders and whatnot. The project is, but the goal is yes, right? This is just to keep us on track so we can seamlessly move into the next phase.
Yeah. Can you tell us your name?
Ashley Perry with a K.
What was the last name?
Perry, P as in Peter, E-R-R-Y.
Thank you.
Harvey?
How much money do we owe right now on that ball field?
Could be my glasses are on. The base bid still has $716,000 in payment due.
Who does?
The base bid for Ranger for this project.
So we're at debt, 700 grand.
No, there are some monies in the ball field reserve and the athletic reserve that will help
How
pay for
much
this.
money do we have to raise to pay this debt?
I don't know how So what's your question, Mark?
That was my question, and that's,
Okay, and would you repeat it, please?
I want to know how much debt we owe towards that ball field today.
We will owe a projected $715,000 on the project.
So what good is 500,000?
Well, I just said there's money in the ball field reserve already and the athletic reserve. This is added to it to make sure there's not enough to cover it, but this adds to it. We're hopeful that we get those CDS funds, so we don't have to tap into all $500,000 moving over.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Is there any current outstanding debt to Ranger, or is it just the amount that is left in the base bid?
No, we're paying their bills as they come in on time. There is gonna be the 10%, contingency that we don't have to pay, on that base bid for up to a year. Steve was here to explain that better, but, we'll have a 10% buffer to pay for next year, but that's included in that number I just stated, so.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll vote on the motion, which is to approve Article 1 as it is written. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? The motion carries. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you for coming. I'm sorry.